Hello, Bears fans. I'm Scott Stuccio, and welcome to another edition of Roaring on the Road here on HersheyBears.com, where we bring you lots of information on your team in their travels away from home. And as you can see, we're about ready to embark on the longest road trip of the season. Literally, the Bears will begin it with the longest travel all the way up to Lewiston, Maine, for a Wednesday night tilt against the Portland Pirates. This road trip didn't look all that pleasing before the last weekend of March. Not that it would anyway, with 9 hours and 508 miles lying ahead. But sitting 5 points out of a playoff spot going into last Friday and Saturday's homestand certainly did not feel good. However, the Bears have been battlers, and battle they did, earning all 4 points against two mid-conference teams while getting help from out of town to pull within 1 point of the 8th place Norfolk Admirals. It's no secret that scoreboard watching has been going on all around Bears Nation, but you can only pray for help so much. The Bears, going into the weekend with only 4 regular season games left at Giant Center, knew that they needed to take control and grab points themselves. It may have been a good omen that the Albany Devils came to town first. Albany had lost to Wilkes-Barre Scranton at Boardwalk Hall on March 23rd, and then came to face the Bears as the only opponent against which Hershey has been perfect in a season series lasting longer than 2 games. The Bears had to fight back from a fluke goal that put them down 1-0 late in the first, and although it took 2 more periods to do so, the good guys came out on top. First, Dane Byers deflected a pass from Chris Newberry beyond the reach of Devils goaltender Scott Wedgwood to tie the game. Che Genoway, who has been known for scoring timely goals late in the season, netted his first game winner of the season with 5:57 left to play, sending Giant Center into a frenzy. Brandon Siegel then scored twice to wrap up a 4-1 win. The Bears later found out that the Norfolk Admirals lost to the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins in regulation, pulling the club within 3 points of 8th place in the conference. On Saturday, 2-time Calder Cup champion Andrew Gordon returned for the second time to his old stomping grounds with the offense-minded St. John's Icecaps. St. John's had won 13 of 14 games before coming to play an I-81 3-game swing. That trip started with losses to Syracuse and Binghamton, so the game against Hershey pitted one team looking for their first point of the weekend against the other team looking to pull within 1 point on the weekend. Goaltenders Tyler Beskorowany and David Leggio became the early story in the last of 4 regular season meetings between the clubs, providing spectacular yet calming saves for their teams. Jeff Tafe would be the first to light the lamp with his team leading 18th of the season. Kyle McKinnon was then credited with a deflection goal 5 minutes later, and those 2 goals would end up being the only ones scored through 65 minutes of play. A penalty to Byers in overtime would shorten the fingernails of many Bears fans, but Leggio and the Bears' penalty kill were phenomenal. After Ryan Stoa and Jerome Samson swapped first-round shootout goals, Carl Klingberg would put the visitors ahead. Byers made up for the overtime penalty by scoring the necessary tally in the last half of the 5th round, forcing the shootout into extra stanzas. What followed would be a clinic of goaltending between Leggio and Beskorowany, 2 distinct stars of the game. Call him an unlikely hero if you want, but after logging countless minutes of defense and penalty kill duty, Tyson Strachan would have the puck on his stick and backhanded home in the 12th round. One more Leggio save on Austin Broussard emptied the Bears bench in celebration, a team heading on this road trip now 1 point out of the 8th seed, thanks also to the second straight loss by Norfolk to Wilkes-Barre Scranton. All that excitement now behind us, it's time to look ahead and look ahead with care. The first 3 teams facing the Bears on this road trip are ranked 14th, 13th, and 10th respectively, but all could just as easily pose problems. The Portland Pirates will look to avenge a 2-1 loss to the Bears at Giant Center on February 8th, a game in which Dane Byers was also the hero, scoring the game winner early in the 3rd period. Since that game, Portland has been held to fewer than 2 goals just once. In fact, just the opposite has been happening. The Pirates have played 19 games since and have scored 4 or more goals in 9 of them. Most recently, the Pirates spotted the Providence Bruins a 5-1 first-period lead on Saturday before storming back to make it a close 6-5 decision, but the Pirates were on the losing end. Portland then lit up the conference-leading Manchester Monarchs for 7 goals the very next day, but had to rally from 2-0 down and then protect a 6-5 lead late in the game. An empty net tally by Brandon Yip would preserve the win, giving the Pirates a 1-win, 1-loss weekend with 12 total goals scored. The biggest storyline for this upcoming game is the expected return of forward Chris Brown back to face his former team. In a timely transaction, the Washington Capitals returned Brown to Hershey on Monday after a 4-game stay. The Flower Mound, Texas native scored his first NHL goal in a shootout win over the San Jose Sharks on March 22nd and added an assist in a shootout loss to Los Angeles 3 nights later in Washington. In 119 career games with the Phoenix Coyotes' top affiliate, Brown has 43 goals and 39 assists, with his 29 goals in 12-13 leading all AHL rookies. Former Bears forward John Mitchell, acquired in the preseason Matthew Perreault trade to Anaheim, is on the Pirates roster. But it is forward Andy Mealy who bears the biggest offensive threat to Hershey. The Bears will then return to the Shark Tank in Worcester, the site of a 3-minute debacle in the third period of a March 22nd 4-2 loss. The game was on the Bears' sticks until Dan DeSilva and Taylor Doherty scored in a span of 106 to put the Sharks up 3-2 after the hosts trailed on goals by line mates Casey Wellman and Nicholas Deschamps. Travis Alexic then sealed the win, scoring with 2:41 left to play. Leggio was solid all game, stopping 36 of 40 shots faced. Sharks leading scorer Freddie Hamilton is the player to watch in that game, as he has scored 3 goals and added 2 assists in the season series. Nicholas Deschamps, who factored into both Hershey goals on March 22nd, leads the Bears head-to-head scoring with the same 5 points as Hamilton. The Bears will wrap up the first leg of this trip with a Sunday afternoon tilt against the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. The Bears have won 2 of the 3 games in the season series, but they have been close, and it has been the home team winning each of the 3, so the Bears are looking to break that pattern. The Bears won in a shootout on November 9th, lost 4-2 on December 7th on the road, and won 5-3 on January 18th. 2 key factors could play into this game. The first is pretty amazing. It's the fact that Bridgeport has 0. That's right, 0 players on their roster right now who have a point against the Bears in the season series. All of such players have either been traded, released, or recalled to the New York Islanders, and that list is lengthy. Ryan Strome, Anders Lee, Johan Sundstrom, Matt Donovan, Mike Helmo, Dallas Jackson, Pierre-Marc Bouchard, Joe Diamond, Mike Keenan, John Sim, Riley Wetmore, and Andrew Clark. The other factor is that this trip begins without the Bears' leading scorer in the head-to-head series and their leading scorer overall in Brandon Siegel. The winger suffered a minor injury in the Bears' win over Albany on Friday and did not make the start of the trip to Lewiston. He could rejoin the team in time to play Sunday if he is better, and it would be a blessing as Siegel has 2 goals and 2 assists in the series. His longtime line mate Ryan Stoa also has 2 goals. The Bears have also used a different goaltender in the series each time. Philip Grubauer won the shootout game to begin the series, Riley Gill won most recently, and David Leggio was in net for the only other road contest. The road trip begins on Wednesday, a game that was rescheduled earlier in the season from this coming Friday. It is correct, as April 2nd, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock at Androscoggin Bank Coliseum in Lewiston against the Portland Pirates. Saturday will be the next game for the Bears, so there'll be a couple of days off in between and some travel and practice time. It's a 7 p.m. rematch with the Worcester Sharks from the DCU Center. And then Sunday, it's off to Bridgeport to face the Sound Tigers in a 3 p.m. afternoon tilt. That game will be televised on ABC 27.2 with Greg Mason, yours truly, on the call, and Darryl Henry will have the radio call as well. The M&C Foreign Car Parts pregame show, as always, begins 40 minutes prior to airtime on the Bears Radio Network. And we welcome WOYK Sports Radio 1350 on board as well. Well, that's going to do it here. We'll talk to you from Maine to start this lengthy road trip. I'm Scott Stuccio. Thanks for watching Roaring on the Road here on HersheyBears.com.